Hey everybody, welcome on back to Chart Request Live. My name is Patrick Denawilla. I am the editor of the Chart Report. Happy Monday. Today's January 6th. Sam, how you doing? Did you have a good weekend?
I did, yeah. I've caught a cold, and
Oh
we
boy.
got about 10 inches of snow yesterday. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also pretty snowy up here. And everybody's getting sick. So I'm just lucky, knock on wood, that I'm staying virus free over here. So that's good.
Keep it that way. It's not any fun.
But listen, I got to tell you, man, all these starts and stops in the market these last few weeks have been kind of frustrating, you know? Like it just seems like we haven't had a full week, and we're not going to have another full week for another couple weeks, right? We have Jimmy Carter, his thing on Thursday, and then what is it? The week after, I think Martin Luther King Day. So a lot of
Isn't it funny
starts and
they couldn't
stops.
schedule the Jimmy Carter thing on a Friday? They had to do it
Right,
Thursday.
right. Why a Thursday? Who knows? But anyway, it wasn't my decision. So, what do you think of the overall market here? We got quite a lift to start the Monday, coming from the semis too.
Definitely. Yeah, I think this Nvidia has to be front and center, one of the biggest and best stocks in the market. It's had a prolonged consolidation phase here. If you've been a bull, an equity bull, you've wanted this one to resolve higher and not be a top. And it looks like the bulls are getting what they want today. If it closes here at 151, that would be the highest close of all time for the Nvidia Corporation.
Yeah, I mean this one, it went from head and shoulders top to you could kind of draw a little head and shoulders bottom there. Those last three kind of lows there. So this one looks like it's in a bullish phase, like you said, all-time high, and it's just been a messy consolidation, but that should resolve nicely, and it looks like it is. But anyway, do you want to you ready to hit the mailbag?
Yeah, yeah. I think earnings next week is also noteworthy. JP Morgan next Friday, I believe. So
Yeah.
the market is looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's start off with the US dollar. We got a question about that last week. Just kind of a broad, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So if you zoom out here, you had let's do a weekly candlestick. So this was 2020. Let's just read it from left to right. We had an awesome bull market from the low in 2020, and then stocks started to peak and roll over. ARC stocks specifically in 2021, they really started to struggle. And then by the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, you saw the benchmarks peak and roll over. And that was when the dollar was really ripping and resolving this reversal pattern. And it took about 9 months for the dollar to peak after that breakout. And equities really, really struggled. So now, if you look at today, you have a prolonged consolidation phase, and equities have loved this so much. And since the US dollar index broke out above this 107 level, equities have kind of struggled. You've seen some pockets of strength, but at an index level, it's been kind of messy. So I think if you're an equity bull, you want to see this not be a breakout and it scoops back into this range. And I think the best case for that right now is the dumb money. The large speculators are betting on a stronger dollar, and historically they've been wrong. And you want to take the other side. So I think that is the bearish case against the dollar, but it has massive implications for the market. Uh, did I
Yeah.
do okay
And
there?
I like how you brought us all the way back to 2020 and kind of how that whole relationship started working. You saw as the dollar was bottoming, you saw the more speculative areas like China and ARC stocks kind of peaking right around there too. Um,
Absolutely.
but let's move on to iShares Italy. Ticker the EWI. Yeah.
Okay, so We have a massive base. This kind of looks like a Deutsche Bank or some shitty European bank. It's just gone nowhere since the Great Financial Crisis. Um, so what we have here is a clear level of resistance at about 43 and a half, let's call it. So if you want to get long, I think that would be your initial objective. Um, let's see if Fibonacci gives us any levels to trade against. Yeah, sure enough, that is your entry right there, that 39.85. Let's just round it up to 40. So $40 is where you want to buy this one on strength, with an initial objective of that 43 and a half. I think
Yeah. I mean, that certainly looks like kind of a reversal base forming over those last
a
few years
massive
there.
one, yeah.
Massive one. Do you want to look at this one on a relative basis?
Yeah, so let's do Acqui. So this
Yeah.
is Italy relative to the All Country World Index. So you can see that Italy has underperformed since this financial crisis peak that we mentioned earlier. It's fallen about 80% relative to the broader equity market, the broader global equity market, I should say. And it's making new 52-week lows here. This is not an encouraging sign. I think there are better places out there. Do any come to your mind?
Any specific countries?
Any strong European
Yeah.
countries?
European, not so much. I was going to mention
Yeah.
Argentina.
Yeah,
You look at
Argentina, you've got
right.
China outperformed the US last year. Not a
Yeah,
lot of people are talking about that.
right. Yeah, no, China looks pretty good and obviously more volatile than the US, even though it outperformed. But man, setting up for I think a good year in
Definitely.
2025.
Yeah, this is what you're talking about here, this choppy ride.
Yeah. I mean, it basically made all that move in a few weeks, like in a month, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
Um,
something you just want to buy and hold, I think. Not try to time it, because that can be difficult as this chart shows.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's move on here to New Scale Power, small reactor stock, SMR.
Yes, so this is a beast, one of the best stocks in the market. Since it bottomed in November 2023, it's rallied about 1,700%. So
Yeah.
that would make your year, to say the least.
I mean, this
So
time last year it was trading at what, like $2? Now it's 23.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a $2 stock about a year ago, and now it's $23.50. So something clearly is going right with this company. Um, So let's fib it out and see if that can help us get involved here. Um, they didn't say they were already involved or anything like that.
Let me check the comments. So this one's from Nick. He's looking for price targets. So
Yeah.
just speculating here, but sounds like he's already involved.
Yeah. So I think this 24.5 level has been and continues to be a big one for the SMR. And if you can reclaim that, which I anticipate is happening here soon, I think your next target is 38.5. So that's about 50, almost 60% of upside. I think that could be a great trade. You kind of have some, it's messy, but I think you could call this a continuation pattern. And then you have that breakaway gap there today. So you have some type of thrusty action. I think you want to drop a WAP from the peak to see if that can help us get involved. And sure enough, we're running into that right now. So I think if this one closes above this anchored VWAP about 2360, or excuse me, 2350. Let's call it 2350. That is our entry. Then an initial target of 38.5. This one looks great. And it's in a great group of stocks too. Like GE Vernova is probably the biggest. AI utility, but this one's breaking away today. I mean, you can't ask for a cleaner continuation pattern than this one.
Yeah, I mean, something's definitely going on in that group. I bought NNE today. I think it's in that same space, but another one that's just kind of really breaking out of that consolidation. Nice
Absolutely, and
space
it's
there.
going along with that whole AI theme. You know, you
Yeah,
have the poster child of it all, Nvidia, absolutely ripping to new all-time highs. So to bet on its peers not following suit, I think is crazy, and I think this is really just confirming what's going on there with semiconductors.
yeah, and this goes along with that OKLO too, right? That fits in that theme too.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of great looking stocks.
Well, let's move on to Jonathan here is asking about PRTH in the mailbag still.
Priority technology. I have not seen this one. Looks like,
Package software. It's just under a billion. We'll make the exception
yeah, this
today.
is acceptable. Uh,
It's because it could be there tomorrow. So
yes. So it looks like it's involved in some electronic payment solutions. Interesting. And you've got a beautiful chart here. This is not a 2020 SPACer, but this is a 2017 SPAC Daddy. That's kind of a rare breed. So this is interesting just from that perspective. But you have here, you have your SPAC go live, and then you get a nice dump about let's call it 90%. And then
and it
quickly,
almost made it back there during the SPAC mania too. It couldn't even
yeah,
get
it did. Yeah. So
but that's pretty interesting that it's getting it done now and it couldn't get it done then. I mean, that's telling you something's changed.
right, absolutely. So I think you want to use like some type of line chart here to identify the close. I think you want to call 11 and a quarter that breakout level. Do you
That
agree with
makes sense.
that, or
Yeah,
how would you mark this
totally.
up?
Yeah, I think you're correct to do that. Be looking for closing prices.
So 11 and a quarter is your confirmation that this one's ready to break out. And you're getting that right now. So as long as it stays put and doesn't fall below that level, I think this one's a good buy with an initial target of 17 and a half. So that's about, let's see, 50% upside from the breakout level. I think it could
That
happen
is
pretty fast.
pretty tasty. Pretty
Yeah,
tasty.
definitely.
Thank you
I
for
like this
bringing
one.
that one
Shout out
to us.
whoever brought this one along. I haven't seen
Yeah,
this.
this one comes from Jonathan, so nice
Jonathan,
there.
love it.
Let's go ahead and hit the chat. We got one stock. It comes from Toronto, so we're gonna skip that one in the mailbag. But let's hit the chat here. H Chan is asking about SEI.
SEI. And on that note, Sui. How about the
Yeah,
Sui? You own any Sui, Patrick?
SUI.
Yeah, I can't ignore the Sui. I think we should start with this. Leading the cryptos higher. This one's been an
Yeah,
absolute beast, making new all-time highs here. And this one has rallied over 1,000% since it bottomed on August 5th.
oh my gosh.
So, yeah. Um, anyways, that was a sidebar. Let's focus on SEI.
Then
There's,
the tickers are very similar. SEI,
yeah, they are.
SUI.
It reminded me of the Sui, so forgive me for that.
No,
This is a $2 billion stock. It looks like they are doing some, yeah,
nice
energy
base there in the
stuff.
weekly. Yeah. Yes.
You love to see that, like these energy
structure.
stocks that don't really look like energy stocks. Like this
Well, this is
company is
built as a
doing something
tech.
right.
I mean, it's classified as tech under what I'm seeing,
It's like,
which is
yeah, it's
interesting, right?
technology
It's
for
sitting
the energy sector. Yeah,
right at that interesting crossroads that looks nothing like technology, but they definitely have some things in common.
right. Yeah, very interesting one here. And it really hasn't acknowledged this breakout level at all. It just blasted right through it. I mean, What do you think about that, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those levels will come back to act as support. So if you missed it, I don't know if I'd chase it here, but I would rather be looking to buy a pullback on that one. But it might just go on without you. You know what I mean? You might
Right.
just have missed it if you're like me waiting for that pullback.
And to
Because
me, it
the
speaks
best
to
ones
the
don't
relative
retest, right?
strength there, right? Like most
Yeah.
stocks will take some time to acknowledge those former highs, but this one, you got on the daily chart like three indecision cancels, and then you got the breakaway gap, and it's been um, gung ho ever since then. Now, I think this RSI is something to consider. That it's not anywhere close to being where it was on this last peak in early December. In fact, you're not even overbought here today as you're trying to make new highs in price. So I think this one it could need some consolidation here, but nonetheless, this thing is a beast. Let's see what it looks like relative to the XLE. Absolute beast. Here it is.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just looked at it relative to XLE and relative to XLK. I mean, it's clearing former highs on both. So
Yeah, this thing is strong. Great find, whoever brought this one along.
yeah, I really like this one too.
Who brought this along?
This one comes from H Chan.
H Chan. Big shout out, H Chan. Wow.
Absolutely. So Cedar Tree's asking about GEVO. So not the GEV, but GEVO.
Okay. What do we have here? $650 million specialty chemicals company.
We can skip it if you'd like.
Yeah. Yeah.
We normally try to keep it to over $1 billion in market cap, just to weed out some of the junk.
Yeah.
But
There's clearly something going right here, though. I think we can just acknowledge that this one has rallied over 500% since August 5th. So I love that about it.
this is a name I've definitely seen show up a lot still, even though it's under $1 billion market cap. But he also asked about Plug, and that one's making a nice move today. So let's take a look at that one.
Sure. So this one's about $3 billion, and they do hydrogen power. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, wow, what a drawdown it's had here. So yeah, I think we just need to go through the history first. So it bottomed in around Christmas of 2018 and just pretty much went up in a straight line for about 3 years. Rallied about 7,000%. So that was one hell of a trade. After that, it collapsed by over 90%, about 98%. And here you are making new, it looks like 50, not 52 weeks, definitely not. This is the highest level since about the summer of last year. So 20-week highs here, pretty significant. I don't think you could, would you draw a trend line like this?
You absolutely could. And I mean, this one's a hard one for me to look at here because I was sitting in the 250s and the $3 calls for the longest time, and then got out of them just because they weren't moving. So this one's tough to see it taking off now. But what really I liked about this was the short interest. A lot of these beaten down stocks, short interest has kind of vanished, or it's not always there. But with this one, you still have, from what I'm seeing, 21% short interest. So that's pretty juicy. And if you get that fail breakdown, which you are today, I think that could really squeeze the shorts.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm looking at my short squeeze chart on the other pane here, and it looks like the short interest is near its highest level in history. So that's a great combination, is new highs along with new highs in price and short interest. I mean, that is a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
I love that. But how you trade this one is a difficult question to answer. It's just a pretty choppy mess.
I mean, with this one, I would use 7 as your nearest target. If you fib it out, 7 is the 38.2. So I mean
Of
that's
the entire
significantly
drawdown?
higher.
Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, that's a it's a double from here. But and I'm using a log-based Fibonacci. So, but 7, I mean, I think it could get there. Stranger
Yeah,
things have happened.
definitely. I wouldn't doubt that at all. And you've seen the whole space work. Like it's Tesla leading the charge, but then you have all of
Agreed.
the junkier plays of Tesla working, and I
That
think
is
this
that's an
falls
excellent
inside
point.
of that category.
Yeah, right. Because you see the Tesla working, and then there's so many people out there who see it who missed out, and they're looking for a cheaper alternative to play it, or they're looking for that diamond in the rough that hasn't been noticed or has isn't as obvious because they can't get themselves to buy the leader.
And I
So
was looking at BlackBerry earlier today. I guess this
very
one's
similar
kind of
setup.
involved with like vehicles now. It's not even the old BlackBerry. They've completely redefined themselves. But I mean, look at this chart. A little
A
bit cleaner
very
version
similar
of the
setup
plug,
too.
but yeah. What do we have
Yeah.
next?
All right. Next up in the chat, we got. Let's take a look at MP. This one's from Wavy. Wavy, how you doing today?
Hey, big thrust here. So far this year, MP is up about 35%. This is a $3.5 billion rare earth materials company. So I think we could benchmark it to the GDX, something like that. I don't think this one is a leader over longer time frames, but you are getting a nice move here recently. So MP relative to the S&P 500 recently made new all-time lows, but you are failing to hold those lows. So that is pretty encouraging. You have a nice inverted head and shoulders here on a relative basis versus the S&P 500. Not sure what you call the neckline, but it looks like you're close to piercing it. However you want to define that. For me, it would be right here, but I could also see the case for it being up here. Anyways, let's look at MP in absolute terms because we are trading the price. And I think we want to drop the WAP from that all-time high. See if that helps us. And yeah, wow, that does help us. So you see that sellers have shown up each time this one has reached the VWAP anchor to the all-time high. That happened in the summer of 2022. Happened in the winter of 2022, early 2023. Now it happened in November, just before the US election. And once again, it got slammed, but it didn't draw down nearly as much as it did the other times. So it looks like the buyers are trying to take control of this one. That is pretty encouraging to me. I think you could trade this one above this shelf of former lows, this polarity level. I think this is going to be crucial. Former support turns into resistance. Former resistance turns into support. Polarity 101. So I expect this one to find some resistance, some sellers at the 23 level. So you have that confluence of the anchored VWAP along with the former support. So above there, I would be a buyer, and I would look at this 36 as my first target. That is pretty aggressive. So if you are looking for a more short-term trade, I think this 28, 29 level looks important. How would you outline this one, Patrick? I think there's a lot of ways you could look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think using that a confluence of resistance there with the VWAP and horizontal resistance there. I think that makes sense. But Sam, I got a really good one for you up next. You ready for it?
Yeah, hit me with it.
Let's hit up Serve Robotics. This one's
Hey,
just over our threshold. It just crossed a billion, it looks like today.
wow, and look at this. This is an actionable one. This is the
This
chart
is
of
an
the day.
actionable one. And this one comes from Mr. Mark Zerby, so shout out to Mr. Mark Zerby.
Mark Zerby,
Excellent
always
chart.
bringing heat.
Always bringing the heat.
So this one is a thing of beauty. You had an IPO earlier in 2024, and from the low, it rallied about 1,200% in days. Like a matter of let's count the days because this is very impressive. In 18 trading days, it rallied 1,200%. And since then, you've gotten a pretty well-controlled consolidation, not too extreme on the downside. You love to see that. The buyers or the bulls aren't just completely abandoning ship. They are continuing to buy this one, and I don't think it could be any more clear. As 24 level is where you want to get involved. If this one closes above 24, I don't think you can own enough.
I mean, Sam, it could do that today.
It could do that today, definitely. And I think your initial objective is 35, and after that, you're looking at 53. But if looking at the past, I think it could happen in days, 1,200% in a matter of days. I mean, we're just asking for a double here.
And
So
I think you did a great job breaking this chart down, but I think you could also just use closing prices.
yeah,
And
absolutely. So it would be
then
more
you
like
got this, that
19.
would make this a breakaway gap, right?
Yeah, that's a
And
great
then,
point. Yeah.
you know, but
So
either way,
this is what
man,
you're talking about here is this was the highest close right here on
yep.
July 29th, 2024. After that, you got a nasty bear sweeper candle, whatever you want to call it. It was nasty. It
It is
screamed.
a bear sweeper.
Uh, it's more like a dark cloud cover, if you want to be fancy with it. But it screamed consolidation or correction, and sure enough, it worked. So to not respect it now, I think is a little bit foolish. So you are breaking above that, like you mentioned. This one,
And then
I,
that made
I don't think
24
there's
kind
a
of
lot of charts in the
confirmation.
market that look better than this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And definitely shout out to Mark for bringing this one to us today. Um, I don't want to call it early, but I'd say that's my nomination for the chart of the day, for lack of a better
Yeah,
term.
yeah, you're gonna need a great chart to beat this one.
Yeah. Let's see you guys top Mr.
Yeah.
Zerby's pick
I
here.
have a few in the back of my mind, but I'm not sure any of you
Hey,
will
I didn't even
call it
tell you the
out.
cherry at the top for this one. It's got 9% short interest, which,
Hey,
yeah, it's not nothing to write home about, but it's 9%.
yeah,
This okay. When the
uh,
stock's at all-time highs, this
I want
definitely
all the buyers.
right, all of them to come out and cover today
Yeah,
or tomorrow. Um, but let's just take a look at one or two more here. Alex is asking about Datadog. Let's take a look at that one. A couple of other nice ones here.
so
KGEI. We'll look at. Let me.
this Datadog looks pretty interesting. So let's see, from this 2019 low, October 2019, to the November 2021 peak, it rallied about 600%. So this one's not too crazy, but it can move for sure. And how is this one classified as software? What is
I
this?
believe so. Yeah. I'll double check.
Wow, and we have an incredibly actionable level here. So 146 and 3/4, we can just round it up to 147. That is a key level of interest to watch here, and that is where I would get involved. And it happens to coincide with a breaking of this multi-week consolidation. I think you could classify this as a continuation pattern, a falling wedge, whatever you want to call it, but it's bullish nonetheless. Um, this one rallied about 35% in a matter of days, and that is what preceded this corrective wave. So the path of least resistance is higher. You're clearly breaking this downtrend line today. I think you can get involved here with an initial target of 200. Nice round numbers. So you've got about 50 points of upside. I think it could happen 1 to 3 months. What do
Hey
you think
Sam,
about
you see
that?
those three white soldiers?
Yeah. I don't know if it's the three white soldiers. You need bigger real bodies, but
I like it. I like it.
yeah,
All about
it's
the
bullish
candlestick pattern.
nonetheless.
Right. Um, let's see. Let's hit up Baba, and then we'll do BNTX, and then we'll call it.
Okay. So Baba, I think you just want to start with a VWAP right here at this doji candle from October 7th. That has led to a pretty significant 30% corrective wave. And you could also draw, um, how would you do this? Is, is it like this, Patrick? Have we already seen the breakout?
I mean, I guess that's a pretty sharp trend line there.
Yeah,
Um, with this one, I think the fact that it's just kind of holding that 81 is kind of more important there.
definitely. And I think we should talk
But
about the form.
it is kind of messy still, right? I mean, it is
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
just
structurally
in
this
that
one is still a
process.
mess. And like
Right.
this is just a
You
trading
can
game.
like it, but still just kind of say,
Yeah.
this one needs a little more patience.
Right. Yeah, this is not something I'm getting excited about.
Well, and it
But
kind of
I
goes
do
back to
see,
what we were talking about with China, right? I think you said you just kind of have to own it, because it is just one of those that makes its move in a month or something where it can have a fantastic move in a month, but if you don't own it then you missed out.
absolutely. I think that is the right way to think about it. And on a relative basis, this is not encouraging to me. So let's flip it on its head. So this is the China benchmark on top, and then you have Alibaba on the bottom. So if this line's going up, that means
Interesting.
Alibaba is underperforming. And you have a pretty massive, I don't know if you want to call it a cup and handle, but a massive reversal pattern. This one's just incredibly bearish for Alibaba. I think.
Yeah, that's a really interesting chart.
Yeah. So yeah, I think if you want to trade this, I think you use the daily candlesticks, and if you wait for a close above 94 and a half, I think that could get you to this 117 and a half pretty quickly. I think that's the trade here.
I like it. I like it. So I think the last one was what, BNTX, BioNTech?
BNTX.
BNTX, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
So yeah, wow, interesting one here. And so this one went public just before COVID, and I think this one was involved with the COVID vaccines, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
It was the
It was
husband-wife
like
couple. Yeah.
I think it was like
And
the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine. I'm pretty sure
yeah, I
is
don't
how they
know
marketed
exactly
it.
how the deal worked with Pfizer. I don't know if this was spun off or if it was just totally independent or what, but I mean, it was all around that same time, the vaccine and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one was a huge winner from that. It rallied. Let's see. Let's call it 2 years. You got 3,600% in 2 years. Massive move. Now, since then, you've got a pretty significant corrective
It's kind of
wave.
suspicious that this thing started rallying before COVID was even an issue, but
Yeah.
we'll leave that to
Yeah.
smarter people to figure out.
I think this retracement of the move is how I'm looking at it. The market has clearly respected this 185 level. So that is resistance. I expect there to continue to be bag holders at that level. Um, so if you're buying it here, I think that is your target, 185. But you do have a really nice setup here on the shorter time frames. I think you could buy this one. Um, let's see. It would take a close above this 123 level for me
Yeah,
to
and
get
if you
involved.
zoom out, that 120 levels come into play so many times. It was the lows all throughout 2022.
Yeah, this is what you're talking about right here.
You
Is
got it.
this shelf of former lows? So, like we were talking about earlier, former support turns into resistance. You're seeing that support, support, support. Then it flipped into resistance, 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 resistance. And I think the sellers could be getting worn out. And if that is the case, you could see a pretty quick, impulsive move towards this next level of bag holders, which is at
Right,
185.
which is also a very well-defined level too, right?
Absolutely. So this is a pretty clean trade. I do appreciate that about it, but um, it's not a
Okay,
leader
like
in the market right now.
120. No, it's not. But what would you say? Like 123 gets you to 185-ish?
Yeah, I think you could round it up to 125, a nice
Yeah.
clean number. But
Give you some nice
125 gets you to
confirmation.
185. I think that's the trade here.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, let's leave it here for today, but what was your favorite?
Definitely the surf, no question
Yeah.
about it.
All
Love
right.
the
Well,
surf.
let's ask a better question here. What was your second favorite?
That energy one, can you remind me of that ticker?
Mine, yeah. So I was gonna say PRTH. I'm not sure if that's the same one. Uh,
PRTA. I was,
that was that was the software one.
I think it was the SEI. Yeah, the one
Yeah,
that reminded me
SEI.
of
Yeah, you
the
like that one.
SUI.
Yep. But there were a lot of good charts today. So thank you guys so much
Yeah,
for doing this and bringing all these tickers to us. We always enjoy going through doing this. So thank you guys so much. And if we missed your ticker, be sure to email us with your ticker at questions@stockmarketmedia.com. It's right there on the screen. And we will be sure to get to it not on Thursday because we have Jimmy Carter's funeral, but we'll be back on Monday for another episode.
that's
Thanks.
right. Thank you, everybody.